Inanna is an ancient Mesopotamian goddess associated with love, beauty, sex, desire, fertility, and was known as the Queen of Heaven, the patron goddess of the Ina temple at the city of Uruk in ancient Sumer, which later became Babylonia, modern-day Iraq. Considered the residence of Inanna, it is mentioned several times in the Epic of Gilgamesh, and at its height around 3000 BC, Uruk probably had 80,000 residents living within a 2.5 square mile walled area, making it the largest city in the world at the time. The legendary King Gilgamesh, according to the chronology presented in the Sumerian Kings list, ruled Uruk in the 27th century BC. So while Gilgamesh is depicted by the ancient Sumerians as a constellation in the sky, fighting a bull, he was also a flesh and blood ruler in ancient Mesopotamia. That said, Inanna was associated with the planet Venus, which makes the following excerpt from the hymns to Inanna very interesting, and I quote, "Like a dragon, you poisoned the land, when you roared at the earth in your thunder. Nothing green could live. A flood fell from the mountain. You, Inanna, foremost in heaven and earth, lady riding a beast, you rained fire on the heads of men, taking your power from the highest, following the commands of the highest, lady of all the great rights, who can understand all that is yours?" End quote. Emanuel Velikovsky, author of The Worlds in Collision, argued that passages such as this were describing ancient celestial events, global cataclysms brought about by the interactions of planets and comets, which take place on a periodic timetable. Velikovsky also authored a book called Mankind with Amnesia, the title having inspired the titles of two of my own books, Species with Amnesia and Gods with Amnesia. I don't necessarily agree with all of his theories, but I do respect his research into ancient periodic cataclysms, which modern academia has either forgotten or actively suppresses.
The catastrophes described in ancient sources were traumatic experiences common to all mankind. Purged from conscious memory, these records are now interpreted as allegories, metaphors, and the trauma has been submerged in the unconscious. Collective amnesia. A revolutionary theory of the universe based on the records of the past has challenged the fundamental beliefs of modern science for more than 2 decades. Today, the unexpected findings of space explorations have confirmed many of the predictions of this theory. Mountains were born and mountains collapsed. Land and sea changed places. Great streams of lava flowed. The sea boiled and evaporated. Such were the scenes of unimaginable violence during the times of global catastrophe, as recorded by the ancients.
Here in the New York Herald Tribune, Explosion in Science, the artist's conception of what happened when the heavens burst. What happened during the 1500 BC upheaval, which we read about in the Bible as the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt, and the phenomena or upheaval that accompanied that. And this is the artist's conception of what happened in Palestine and Mexico and China. Lightning, meteorites being rained down as the comet's head came closer to the earth, followed by floods. Same in Mexico, where water swept over the entire land, great gigantic tides.
There were repeated changes in the Earth's orbit, in the lengths of day, the seasons, and the year. In these catastrophes, entire species of animals were annihilated. Others proliferated from wholesale mutations. Mankind was decimated. Civilizations destroyed.
The story of human memory of catastrophes that took place in historical times, but strangely, despite the fact that they were described in so many sources, as if non-existent for the scientific world.
Other ancient documents tell of the thunderbolts of the planet god Jupiter. Velikovsky understood that these thunderbolts referred to electromagnetic discharges between planets. This led to his claim that radio noises must emanate from Jupiter. In 1955, radio noises from Jupiter were discovered. It was this prediction and discovery that finally convinced Einstein of the merit of Velikovsky's ideas. This prediction and confirmation of radio noises from Jupiter convinced Einstein to seek crucial experiments on Velikovsky's ideas. After Einstein's death, his estate wrote letters to this effect, but with no result.
One of the most interesting cases that are these mammoths that are frozen in the Yukon or in Alaska, frozen in the muck and the gravel of that area, that still have food in their mouths. The flesh has been preserved in the ice, so that actually when they were dug out, when they were digging for gold, they could actually feed the flesh of these animals to sledge dogs. Whatever happened happened suddenly, as for example the tilting of the axis of the earth and freezing them right there where they were found. Why did the ancients worship stars or planets that the average person can't pick out of the sky today? And yet all of our ancient heritage that comes to us in terms of architecture, writing, and so on, they're actually obsessed with the idea of worshiping these stars, these dreaded planets. All mankind through the years have worshipped stars that we can't even pick out of the sky today. Now why? Why were they so obsessed with them? Unless in some way these stars were threats to them, in some way impressed themselves upon ancient man.
A book like Old Testament is read maybe more than any other book through the centuries. It's translated to all languages. And you read there about sea and land changing places, about mountain moving into the sea, mountain being overturned, mountain melting like wax. And you think that this is metaphors. And so it is the phenomenon that Freud stressed and stressed again, of the role of traumatic experience on the life of an individual. But he stressed also another point, namely that the victim of this partial amnesia lives under the urge to repeat the traumatic experience, sometimes changing roles, making somebody else the victim. And mankind today, advanced enough in technology, produced thermonuclear weapons that could be like symbol or something representing the ancient, violent, celestial bodies that through fire and smoke disturbed the rotation of the earth. Now, if man is under the urge to repeat the ancient catastrophic events, the ancient trauma, are we not in a predicament? It is not a preaching to be better. It is a preaching to know yourself.
As long as a man doesn't remember his past, he acts as a neurotic, a person who suffered a traumatic experience. Due to this traumatic experience, suffered also an amnesia.
Are there any rituals that we are practicing now which would seem to indicate a repetition of this trauma?
Not only any ritual, almost all rituals in religions, in various religions, all our observation in some way go back to the astral religion, to the beginnings that are rooted in the catastrophic events of the past.
Another ancient Sumerian passage concerning Inanna is as follows. My father gave me the heavens, gave me the earth. I am Inanna. Kingship he gave me. Queenship he gave me. Waging of battle and attack he gave me. The flood storm he gave me, the hurricane he gave me. The heavens he set as a crown on my head, the earth he set as sandals on my feet. A holy robe he wrapped around my body, a holy scepter he placed in my hand. The gods are sparrows, I am a falcon. I am Father Enlil's splendid wild cow, and his splendid wild cow leading the way. Cattle are considered sacred in many world religions, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Zoroastrianism, and played a major role in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Israel or Palestine, ancient Rome, and ancient Germany. In Scandinavia, the udder of the cow of creation flowed the 4 primordial rivers, or 4 streams of milk, that nourished the oldest race of beings. In Egypt, Hathor was revered as the heavenly cow whose udder produced the Milky Way. The name Italy means calfland, the milk giver whom Etruscans called Lat, Arabs called Al-Lat, Greeks called Latona or Leda, who ruled Latium, or modern Rome, and gave her milk, or latte, to the world. And yes, that's where Starbucks got its name for their espresso and hot steamed milk. It's no wonder that the goddess from the Middle East, or more specifically Anatolia, has so much in common in mythologies from other parts of the world that have agricultural civilization, as there was only one people during the Holocene that had domesticated animals, which any real anthropologist knows is absolutely necessary for the establishment of agriculture, as they were the tractors of the ancient world. They were, of course, the Aryans, a term etched in cuneiform thousands of years ago, and only someone uneducated, politically motivated, or corrupt would label this academic fact as supremacist, as it is openly taught in any accredited university and is evident in the biology of diffused Aryan populations, as many of the Aryan descendants are the only demographic that are not lactose intolerant, meaning they can drink milk as an adult, having domesticated the cow, a trait that at this time is most abundant in Northern Europeans, who despite the false egalitarian propaganda of their Marxist-controlled governments are direct agriculturalist descendants of blue-eyed ancient Aryans that introduced agriculture to Europe, which is named after Europa, a Phoenician goddess that rode in on a white cow or bull, Zeus or Taurus. My name is Robert Sepehr. I'm an anthropologist. Please check out my published work on Amazon. Kindly share these videos, hit the like button, subscribe, and click on a notification bell for updates. Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section, and please have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you again soon.